Thanks to the support as a channel member, Felix Bjorkman. Oh, we finally made it to the league we would have started in if we'd have been playing on a vanilla version of Football Manager. I know what to do from here. I do this bit every year. So let's ignore the club's financial problems and put together a squad that can win the National League South at the first attempt. Hello and welcome to part 57 of Wembley to Wembley. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, it is our season review and transfer special ahead of our first season in the National League South. A season that is going to be competed in away from our home. And I think we might officially be homeless now because it doesn't look like this is with a view to, you know, fixing our ground. Wembley have agreed to rent Gavin Rose Stadium next season after their promotion to the Vanarama National League North/South. Vale Farm, the current stadium they were renting, does not meet National League North/South minimum requirements. So I think we've just left Vale Farm and we're never going back. As far as Football Manager is concerned, we were only renting it and now we've left it and we're renting somewhere else. So this is now the home of Cricklewood Wanderers. Meanwhile, we are off to Gavin Rose Stadium, which is in London and named after one of Dulwich Hamlet's heroes and was built in 2028. So it doesn't even exist in real life. We can't even have a look at it. The all-seater stadium has room for 6,127 supporters with the potential to be expanded to a capacity of 13,466. That's interesting information you don't normally get when it's your own ground. But this is the Gavin Rose Stadium. It's a three-way ground share, so Dulwich Hamlet are down in the level we've just left, but they're already renting it to Cray Valley Paper Mills, who are apparently in the National League South. Well, I think they've just been relegated, but they're a team. I mean, I've never heard of Cray Valley Paper Mills. They've done their own little road to glory faster than I did because they started down in Tier 8. To be fair, we started Tier 9, didn't we? But they've had 1 year, I guess, where they've jumped up to the National League South. Presumably, they can now go back and rent wherever they were renting before. You would think. I don't really know. But it's potentially a three-way ground share. Certainly, as of right now, there are officially 3 clubs who play at this ground. We're the highest level of them, but it's not our stadium. I mean, I guess I can find out where Dulwich Hamlet is to see how far from home we are. But like I say, I think we're just... There's no plans to build a ground for us or move back home. So I think for now, we just rent here and are effectively homeless. Which does put a new twist on Wembley to Wembley, because if we can advance up the leagues fast enough, maybe our home will end up being Wembley Stadium, because we certainly don't have one at the moment. I mean, this is genuinely hideous as well, because... I mean, obviously, we don't know where they built their new ground, but Dulwich Hamlet at the moment are down here. They're over an hour away from Wembley. Down in South London, Peckham, Camberwell. That's a long way from Wembley. An hour and 15 minutes by car, an hour and 25 by public transport. It's an hour and a half bike ride. They're 15 miles away. 15 miles is a lot of miles in London. So not only... are we homeless? But we're miles away from home. I mean, that kind of commute time, that's the equivalent of, I don't know, Nottingham Forest going and playing at Aston Villa. It's ridiculous. New goal, bring Wembley home. That aside, the other piece of worrying news we've got is the Tom Best situation, which is developing. We had this a few years ago. Tom Best wants a new contract. However... the club won't let me offer him more than £50 a week. He wants a non-contract on £300 per match, which we can't do either. He's got a year left on his current deal. At the moment, he's staying calm, but I am starting to worry that we're not going to be able to renew his contract at the end of his deal. And if he's genuinely worth £50,000, we might have a decision to make this summer because we're desperately in debt. It's only going to be getting worse. I don't know how much we're renting the new stadium for. Not to. I mean... can I rent a football stadium to keep all my Lego in, if that's how cheap a football stadium is? I'd rent an entire football stadium for £6,000 a year. That seems like a bargain. Goodness me. But, yeah, I don't know about this Tom Best situation. Or any situation, really, because most of the squad are out of contract. The only players under contract for next year are Best, who wants a non-contract, Bosworth, who we want rid of, Camper, thankfully, and John Moores, who we signed right at the end of last season, has barely played. Everyone else is out of contract. If we are capped at £50 a week wages, we can't give any of them their current deal. I suspect, though, in the National League South, there is a minimum salary requirement as well. And we could find ourselves in a trap where we can't afford the minimum salary requirement. And I genuinely don't know what happens there. How do we see the minimum salary? It's usually down the bottom somewhere. So, yeah, wage rules. There is a £300. I mean, these are for full-time players. I guess it doesn't affect us because we're part-time. But, yeah, if we were to have to pay a full-time salary, we couldn't afford it. But hopefully that means it doesn't matter. I think what we need to do before we can really do anything is get to the point where the league ticks over and the game knows what league we're in. And hopefully we'll actually be able to offer some sensible contracts. Thanks. We've got spare budget. I don't know why it's limiting me to £50 a week for best. There's no logical reason when he's here on £120 a week for another year anyway. There's no logical reason with our budgets the way they are why we can't offer him more and for longer. I guess it's taking that into account and panicking. We'll be fine. So let's not worry about that for now. Let's do our season review. And if for a season that ended with a trophy, a lovely old trophy, we love a trophy. Signing of the year, as you can imagine, went to Sam Camper. How could it not? 30 goals, 11 assists in 45 appearances, 7.46. What a signing. Craig Laycock scored almost as many goals, and I think he's out of contract at Hampton and Richmond. So if we do find ourselves in a position to offer salaries, we would love to make Laycock permanent. We could potentially, if we lose Best and Laycock doesn't come back, and of course Cackett is here on loan as well, who we'd like to sign permanently but might not be able to, we might have Camper and nobody else in the attack, which does change things a little bit. Hampton have been promoted, which I guess makes it more likely that Laycock won't be needed there. That's my hope. If they were staying in this league, obviously there's an argument to keep the 27-goal striker. They might be less inclined to now they're at a higher level. Conversely, they might have more money available to them now and be able to afford to offer him a little bit more. I guess we'll see. Super harsh on Hungerford, though. They absolutely fell apart, clearly, after what we did to them on the last day of the season. Financially, we know we're in an absolute mess. We need a cup run. We need a cup run every year. And this was our team of the year. I think we all know who's in it. Sancelli in goal. McDowell gets in at left back, despite having left the club and not having played a game for his new team, which is interesting. Larson, who of course is here on loan and will return to his parent club alongside Young, who's out of contract, and O'Doy, who is here on loan. Cackett, who was here on loan. Mingy and O'Sullivan, who are both out of contract. Best, who wants to leave. Camper, who's happy. And then Laycock, who is here on loan. We have much work to do this summer. Player of the Year went to Camper, and Young Player of the Year, and top average rating. He's our new star. Forget Tom Best. This is all about Sam Camper these days. He also, of course, finished top scorer. Best most assists on 23. Laycock, most man of the matches on 11. And Camper, highest rating at 7.5. And Camper also breaking the club record for goals in a season at 30. League goals in a season at 29. Best broke his own record for assists in a season at 23. And is the new all-time record goal scorer at 71, going past Anton Canerva. I don't even remember that happening, but clearly at some point we probably had a message flash up and I didn't even notice it happen. But Tom Best, the club's all-time record goal scorer. That's our all-time best 11. Bosworth in goal, of course, is still here, but hopefully going to be leaving. Chadder is now retired. Drakos is playing for Hackney Wick on loan from Malvern and is had a decent enough season. Young, of course, is still here. Gray is retired. Macaulay is now playing for White Ensign. Never heard of them. And Martin is at Wellingborough Whitworth. Is that a brewery? Giles is still with us, but is out on loan at Walthamstow and out of contract this summer as well. Chris Wright left last summer and hasn't been able to find a new club, so I imagine he'll be retiring shortly. We know all about Tom Best and, of course, Anton Canerva, also now retired. So the best 11 has taken a little bit of a hammering as well here. I guess all I can really do is just wait for the season to tick over. We've got some new sponsorship deals. We're increasing our ticket prices. A tenner to get in now at Wembley. To be fair, still seems like a bargain. And fair play to the 35 people who've taken out a season ticket despite having to do a 3-hour round-trip commute every match day. You don't want to be doing that on a Tuesday night, do you? Scouting budget, we're not even going to bother doing any scouting because we haven't got the money to buy players anyway. We will do our normal budget thing. And immediately stick that into wage budget because goodness me, do we need it if we're going to be able to sign players on free transfers? And now I guess we just wait. We didn't win many tackles last year, did we? Tackling's for cowards. We scored all the goals. Right, let's wait for the season to tick over and hopefully be able to do some contracts and then hopefully be able to make some signings. Meanwhile, my director of football is trying to sign me a 6'4" goalkeeper who actually, to be fair, seems excellent, but surely we're not able to offer him any kind of sensible money. If he ends up in the squad, we might be leaving my director of football to do transfers this summer. Right, Teddy Sharman-Lowe is in and being paid £110 a week, and I don't know why my director of football can do it and I can't. That's a goalkeeper sorted for next season, no, straight away. Who else might we want to renew a contract for? I don't want to try it with Best because I don't want to risk upsetting him. Let's have a little look. Who can we risk upsetting? But it wouldn't be the end of the world if they signed a new deal. Machiavelli, I think, fits that bill perfectly. Can we offer him a sensible contract? Right. Before we do, Tom Best. Resolve contract talks. We are desperate to renew. Let's renew a deal with Tom Best. Maybe we're able to now. He does want an awful lot of money. Oh, we're not. Yeah. Regardless, it's over, isn't it? Tom Best has moved beyond our level. We're going to have to sell him this summer. If anyone wants him, he is for sale. Can we get these boys yet? Is it too early? It might be too early to be able to make offers. Oh, he's signed a new deal. That's a disaster. Right, Kakit can't come in on a free. What about Laycock? Laycock, can we offer you... Can we make you an offer for... How are they still asking for 13 grand? When can we offer him a deal? This is all very problematic. Right, finally a piece of good news this summer. Craig Laycock has signed for us permanently at the end of his loan from Hampton and Richmond. We've had to give him £180 a week to do it, but this is a man who scored 25 league goals, 13 assists last year, averaged a 7.47. He's agreed to come in as a fringe player as well, which I'm not going to argue with at all. But that is a huge signing for us. That means, regardless of everything else, we've got Camper and Laycock for next year. Plus, Tom Best is under contract. I mean, obviously, if we were thinking in terms of long-term big club kind of things, you'd want to cash in now. But for me, everyone else is here on contract till the end of next season, until the end of this season coming up. Best's just one of those. If he has to leave on a free at the end of that, then so be it. But we get him for one more year. I don't think we ever expected to have him for 5 years when we got him. And, you know, if we've got him with Camper and Laycock, there's a chance we could get promoted and maybe be able to give him what he wants in a year's time. So I'm not going to push him out the door. We're not going to get Kakit because he's going back to Marlow. They've given him that 1 year contract extension. This is one of the things that does frustrate me a little bit about Football Manager, because I think in real life we'd have had that conversation with him. Hey, Rennie, you are a key part of the team. There is a contract for you here at the end of the season when your one at Marlow expires, and we just don't have the option to say that to him. So he's signed a contract extension at Marlow where he's played 3 games in 3 years before coming on loan for us, including not playing a game of football at all for 2 years, but he's chosen to stay there rather than coming to us, and we'd have paid him more than that as well. And that, to me, just feels like a load of nonsense. We should have had the option to tap him up, because it absolutely would have happened in real life. But we can't. But at least that's one in. We've got Laycock in. We've got a decent goalkeeper coming in as well. So I am encouraged by the signings that are happening so far. More of this kind of thing. So the season has ticked over and some excellent things have happened. Excellent thing number 1, we've doubled our reputation. We've gone from half a star to 1 star of reputation, which might help with attracting players, although we don't have any money to give to players, but that's a problem for future Kev. The other good thing that's happened is we are now officially listed as a Vanarama National League South team. which is very, very exciting. The media think we're going to come straight back down. They consider us not even as good as Hampton and Richmond, who finished below us, 4-5 places below us in the league last year. Apparently we're not as good as them. And I'm going to take all of this with a pinch of salt because another newly promoted team, Billericay, are the odds-on favourites to go up again as champions. Billericay won the Isthmian League Premier Division on 92 points last year. We, if we can get to us, we won the Southern Premier League South on 89 points. Equivalent level leagues, we got 3 fewer points than them over the course of the season. Yeah, they're going to go up as champions. We're going to get relegated, apparently. They do have a few players in the Dream 11, but this guy who's in the Dream 11 is on loan from Cambridge and will be going back. And these other two, Jenkins is out of contract at the end of the year. We can't offer him a contract, as in out of contract in a week's time. They're losing these boys. We can't sign either of them, but I don't think either of them are staying at Billericay either. So their 3 good players are all potentially leaving in a week. So it'll be interesting to see what impact that has on them. What's their club reputation? 1 star. Same as ours. We're all 1 stars here. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things pan out when we get to the 1st of July. We have got the basis of a team set up for the 1st of July as well. All of these players are currently under contract for next season. 9 football boys. We've got Moores as a central midfielder, Camper and Laycock up front, Machiavelli left back, Brown right back, Young centre back, Best on the right side of midfield, Sharman Lowe in goal with Bosworth on the bench. It means we're short 1 centre back and 1 central midfielder, and of course a left winger. And everyone else I think is probably going to be leaving. I don't think we necessarily need to renew any of those further deals. We've got plenty of money to spend. Now we need to go and have some fun on the 1st of July. And there we have it. It is now the 1st of July. So this is our best 11 as it currently stands. You can see where the gaps are. Oh, hold on. We've got a greyed out guy in there. So we've got gaps here. And I mean, these bits, pretty strong. New keeper in, obviously. But we've got 3 of the 4 attackers from last year. Moores is going to end up very, very good, I'm sure. He's a big upgrade on Mingy, which is why we were happy to let Mingy go. We just need a centre-back, a midfielder, a winger, and then some young players and some upgrades here and there. But I don't mind that as the core of the team. With it being the 1st of July, let's see what that's done to Billericay. That's more like it. Look at them. There you go. They've lost their lone players. Not so clever now, are you, Billericay? Good. Does that show me their Dream 11? I never knew you could click on the teams here and it shows you their best 11. Is that new? Did you know about that? Is Tom Best really a left back? I don't know how much we trust it. That's interesting. But yeah, that is much more sensible. And actually, interestingly, with all of the shuffling around, not only have Billericay moved down to 18th, we've moved up to 15th. So the media actually think once everyone's lost their players, we've got a fairly decent core, which I like the sound of. And we've also got teams who are after Camper, which is not ideal. Why is he listed at being worth nothing? Has he got a release clause for nothing or something? No, why is he... I don't understand. Have I told them? No idea why he's not worth anything. But we've got loads of money to spend, more than half of our budget still available, and most of a team already in place. Let's go and get some trialists. Well, that reputation boost hasn't really done very much. First wave of trialists, almost everyone turned us away. The only one who didn't is Adam Larson, who's back. Of course, was a key player for us last year. Played all 42 league games for us over the course of the season, most of them from the start. And he has joined us permanently, £200 a week. It's a lot of money, but he's a key player, nice and versatile, so he comes back in. Bosworth has gone out on loan to Sevenoaks for the season. They're paying his full salary. But yeah, that's all we've been able to do in 10 days, transfer-wise. But arguably more important than the transfers is Tom Best's new contract. He has agreed to that same £200 a week deal. He has a 2-year contract. Tom Best will be staying at Wembley, and we're also trying to extend Sam Camper's contract as well, get him tied down for a 2-year deal also. So after 10 days of transfer window, the squad doesn't look massively different to how it did before. I mean, if we remove the greyed out players from this, There is still a lot of work to do here. Larsson is the one who's come in, and realistically, he probably plays there. That's where he played all last season. So I don't like the fact Bosworth is considered the better keeper either. That's alarming. But we need a midfielder and a winger, definitely, and backups everywhere. There's loads of money to do it. We just need to convince players to sign for us. The season at this level starts on the 2nd of August, so we've got about 3 weeks until that first match. So I guess we do another round of trials. So another 9 days, largely a frustration complete, but we have managed to bring in a couple more players. Firstly, and I thought this was going to be the only guy we got on this batch, a backup goalkeeper on £50 a week. It's fine. It was needed. He's cheaper than Bosworth was. That's fine. But we did manage to pick up a couple of potential gems. Harry Thomas is a right back who can also play centre back. So he's a 6'2" right back, but probably better at right back than he is at centre back. So his future probably is playing at right back. However, Sam Brown, who of course was playing at right back for us last year, he's 6'4". I think he might be the centre back. So Brown is going to move across to centre back potentially. I guess it could be Thomas, could be Larsson, but Larsson at the moment is probably going to have to be in midfield, and we can then have Thomas come in as our new starting right back. And then the other player we've signed is Alex Roberts, who is another striker. Look, a real face, 25 years old. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Yeah, we've told him he's going to be a star player, but he had a decent goal return for Wingate and Finchley last year. And in fact, he's scored goals in the 2 seasons of football he's ever played. And I think it's handy to have a third option up front. So we've got Roberts, Laycock, and of course Camper. Sam Camper has now signed his contract extension as well. So he now gets a value as well, which is jolly nice. So if we have a look at what the game thinks our best 11 is now. Who the hell is this guy? Oh, he's in on trial. Yeah, I'm not interested in him. I think what it actually is that currently. That's our best 11. We still don't have a left winger. So that's definitely something to work on. But I think that's where we are. Obviously, we don't really want to be playing Larsson in midfield, and we still need a left winger, but we've still got money. Another round of trialists it is. Well, this is something you don't see every day in FM24, boys and girls. A loanee returning. Francis O'Doy is back. Was here on loan last year, and we've managed to get him on loan again, not making any wage contribution. Leyton Orient didn't care if he was challenging himself in a different environment or whatever waffle you normally get when you try and renew a loan. So O'Doy is back. He's one of a number of loans who have arrived. Ross Davidson is a midfielder who can also play centre-back. He's on loan from Kelty Hearts. We could only get him on a 7-month loan. It was a weird one. So he's on loan until February. So if he becomes a key player, we get to February and tough luck, I guess. But we needed midfielders. Jack Thomas is actually a permanent signing. He's in as a left back, very much with a plan to push Machiavelli forward. If you have a look at Machiavelli, if we can find him, Jack Machiavelli is a wing back on attack naturally, can play on the left wing as well. So we're training him to play on the left-hand side of midfield. It's not ideal, but the guy got 7 assists in 17 starts without playing very well. So I think he probably has the potential to play a little bit further forward. And then we also brought in Joe Hannah-Duggan, who is a young striker, again, who can sort of maybe potentially play on the left-hand side of midfield. Certainly where he's going to be playing until we get somebody coming in who can play there. He's a left winger who can't really play left midfield. Love Football Manager, me. And then Steve Marrow is a central midfielder who can play deeper as well if need be, but he's on loan from Walsall for the season. We're trying to bring one more guy in. Joel Vincent is a right winger who can also play right back. And we just can't find a left winger. We don't have one at the club at the moment. Blaine Scowen, who signed on a free transfer. In fact, did I tell you when he signed? When did Blaine Scowen come in? There you go. Blaine Scowen came in just before. He's in on a free transfer to play central midfield, really. He was at Dorkings. He has got that McDonald's stench on him, but never actually played for their first team. So we are going to let him off. But he can play on the left wing, I guess. I really wanted to play him in midfield, but we don't have anyone. We do still have a little bit of money left, but not a huge amount of money. And it's just proving to be very, very, very difficult to find someone who's naturally a left winger. We'll bring in some more trialists again. and we'll continue to hope they come up on scout reports again. But at the moment, that spot is very much going to be filled by Hannah Duggan, Machiavelli and Scower, none of which are really any good at actually playing there. The really frustrating thing, if we go back to last season and find Cackett, you'll see he's now on the transfer list at Marlow. So they didn't play him for 3 years, loaned him to us and he was great. He was out of contract at the end of the season, but they extended his deal. He was dumb enough to sign it and they've immediately transfer listed him and won't use him again. I've offered nothing. They're not interested. Loan? Nah, different environment, please. I mean, can we just... What if we pay his £75 a week salary? Is that a different enough environment? Can we do that? No, brilliant. It's so illogical. He is the man that we want and we can't bring him in. But I guess we'll worry about that in the next episode, because it is now the first game of the new season. We're playing against Ebbsfleet. That'll be in tomorrow's video. If we have a look at what these transfers have done for our season preview, we're still, as far as the media are concerned, expected to avoid relegation. Billericay have had a little bit of a recovery, so they've clearly done decent transfers and have actually managed to keep hold of this guy despite him not being under contract. I mean, he won't talk to us. No one else wants to sign him. He's said he's going to explore his options when his contract expires. His contract has expired, but he's just going to carry on playing for them, presumably for free. I mean, there's logic, I guess. He's the best player in the league. If that didn't come through properly, sigh. So this is our best 11, I think, at the moment. Obviously, the back four looks very familiar. Machiavelli, Larson, Young, and O'Doy now having returned. Sharman Lowen is the new keeper. You can see we've now got squad numbers as well, which is very exciting. So Tom Best is the number 7. Camper and Laycock. Laycock getting the number 16 because I just hit auto select. Who's the number 9? The number 10, sorry. I guess Roberts. Yeah, Roberts is the number 10. But it's not ideal playing Hannah Duggan on the left, but it's all we can do at the moment, I guess, other than play Scowen or Machiavelli there. It's a problem area and one that we need to fix, but we have time to fix it. Although, do we have transfer windows now? I don't think transfer windows come in until the Football League. No, so we have got time. It'll be fine. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.